Welcome to 314 Howard, Delta, Colorado. It's October 20th, 2025. I'll be sharing with you the life that we have cultured and grown here on this property since we bought it in 2000, moved here in 2002. This is a catappa tree that we planted, and we've kept it trimmed so it's nice and globed. This is a walnut tree, and that's another walnut tree. We have here tiered rock walls. This home was built in 1938. The rock walls are so amazing. They come from who knows where, from riverbeds and granite and lava. Who knows how far they brought them. But here on the rock wall in front of the house by the sidewalk, we have in the spring tulip, purple hyacinth, and crocus. There are snapdragons that do come back for a couple of years. You just need to put more seed in. I put in the zinnia this year in early summer, probably around 1st of June. Those are big and beautiful. You can plant whatever you like to make it your own. And pampas grass in front of what I call my shop. There were trees that were growing out of the porch that we had to cut down. Lots of elm trees growing everywhere. This was all dirt, by the way. So we have watered this with the just gorgeous clear water ditch in the back. This here is called a heavenly bush. It needs to get trimmed about every couple of years. It's really nice shade. That's another super big catappa. And over here we have I call the bending tree. It's a juniper, and it is just fine. It's been bending that way all these years, and it's doing great. Birds love it, and I put my hummingbird feeder right here. And it's nice protection, and they know where it is. Lilac. This is chokecherry on the neighbor's side, and the birds eat all the chokecherries. Even if it was to grow over, you won't get any. Gooseberry right there, and probably more chokecherry. We have columbine. This is more of a yellow columbine going along the fence line. There's this little purple flower that grew underneath the fence. It is a heart leaf, like this kind of a heart leaf. Pull them anytime you see them. They are invasive. I let them grow because they were beautiful, and they went everywhere. So if you see them, that heart leaf, pull it. This is honeysuckle. Not a real fragrant one, but it's still very pretty. Elderberry, look at the elderberry still on there. This grows like a weed for real, so you have to trim it every year. You trim it back. It's grown like 10 feet from the spring. But man, did we get some good produce from that. This is an apricot tree. Don't get fruit off of that one every year. It tends to catch the frost more so. And then here's that beautiful pine tree and the catappa. And then we have here, we'll get into what we call the dog pen here in a moment. This is grape. We have red and white seedless grapes in here. You really need to do some. I've had this netting, which helped a lot to keep the coons out, because when they smell the sweetness in August, then they'll take them. But man, the raisins from there, the juices, just eating straight up, and I've made wine, which is awesome. That is an apple tree, and that's a green apple. You can pick those earlier. They're a little bit bigger apple. And then we're going to come into what we call the dog pen. That's the gate to the ditch. Okay, don't judge. We had a Pyrenees mix and a husky. They did not like the outside. So we made this awesome for them. And they had The dog houses are here. People want to keep them. We fill that with the free flow ditch water for them to have a swimming pool in the summer, and this little teepee here we provided shade from. That's a peach tree. Yeah, leave the dead part because that's what's holding it up. It is well secured, and you'll get 1 to 2 dozen peaches off of that that left side every year. There's the back side of that apricot tree. Dead apricot tree. Really good smoking wood, by the way. We'll just leave that there. It's another apple tree. This is a golden. You need to keep those on later on. They're the best after, or just when it gets close to frost in October. But they're a great pie apple. This smaller, but a really great pie apple. And then over here is I'll call the headwaters of our ditch. First, I just want to pan out so you can see how big this is. This area is so big that it's like maybe 2,000 square feet or so. You could have a dozen chickens here. You can't have goats and sheep and that kind of thing because of city rules. But this is where the neighbors have their dam for the water for them. You can see it coming down from the hillside. Really good flow. I can't recall exactly what month it is that it really starts flowing, but this is excellent. My husband is a ditch maintainer, so it does need to be cleaned out. He does it about every month in the summertime to keep the silt down. Let's see up there at the inside corner of that driveway, which you really can't see. That's the corner of the property, and then it comes down to here. I don't know if you can see it. I can't see my phone, but there's a property peg the neighbors did, but they only did one side in their survey, so who knows how legit that is. You do have water rights. Paper comes with it. Nobody can completely occlude your water supply. If that happens, you have every say in court. Judge looks at that paper that the water authority gave us, said, boom, you're done. It's theirs. This is a quince. Very unusual to see a quince. It's high in nutrients. And that is a big, beautiful quince. Look at that. They're bigger this year because it didn't have a lot of fruit, but very high in nutrients. And it's really, it's a dense fruit. You need to boil it. In Mexico, they make a great jelly out of it. I've made jelly quite a few times with that, but it's really grainy, more grainy than a pear. It's super high in vitamin C and other nutrients. I can't recall off the top of my head. Okay, that's the dog pen. Let's head out to the garden. This is comfrey. Comfrey's been here for, oh my goodness, probably a couple of decades. Roots go very deep, up to 20-foot deep. This is the root and the leaf are really good for tissue injury, joint repair, if you've had broken bones or any such. I also make a salve using the comfrey and calendula flower, which will seed for you. I see one over there. I'll show it to you in a little bit. This is raspberry. And this, the raspberry is a twice-a-year producer, so you'll get smaller raspberries earlier on in the summer, and then in the fall, starting in September, more like late September, you're going to start to get the bigger raspberries. You can see they are on there. Look at that. They're delish, I'm telling you what. Okay, that is pear. You get two kinds of pears. On the right hand side here, you're going to get a yellow. On the left hand side, it will be more of a green, more dense pear. It takes longer to ripen. And those don't get ripe until September sometime. just want to pop up this way and just show you, you have a sump pump that has been very well maintained. Bill is an excellent maintainer of equipment. We have this bridge here. It goes across. This land is owned by the people above us. But that corner up there, all the way down to the inside corner at the end of that fence, that shows you how much ditch right you have. This is dammed, as you can see, and that's where the water is sumped from. There's a second sump area at the end that that Bill has established. The rocks on this property are truly amazing. I have been just touched by the labor that went into the making of this property and the terracing. I mean, look at this granite. Who brought all of this? Yeah, watch out for the pine weeds. They're everywhere. Just amazing. Look at that. Okay, in the garden area here, that's an oregano. That big one right there. And that is well-established perennial. I usually put the basil in that little spot right there, grow it from seed, and it works well. I let the dill go to seed, and then I get a whole big bunch of dill weed in the fall, and then I trim that off and dry it, and that is so delicious in your herbal mixes. And you don't really, well, you can have more Swiss chard when you grow it, but this stuff stays until 20 degrees somethings. There's still some spinach here in October that's a growing. That garlic, it was all volunteer from seed. It needs more space, so when you grow garlic, just find a place to spread it out more. You will have all of this prepared for you. Raised beds on rubber, so you don't have to worry about the weeds, because that's kind of a pain. That's peppermint. It's forever. It is easier to control. You can see I dug a bunch out right there. Clip your peppermint in the summertime. Make yourself some delicious tea. I'll show you the lemon balm over there. You clip sprigs of that and you make your tea for the summer, and then you dry it for later. Okay, that's horseradish. Horseradish, you can see it will root itself. There's some over there that can be dug. I've kept some solid, like the mother plant is right in here. You harvest horseradish in the A months, April and August. I still have some that I ground with some white vinegar in the freezer, and it's really potent. It'll last you forever. Okay, and that is apple mint. Apple mint is so gentle. It's a gentle mint and the best in tea. So I don't use it for anything medicinal. There are some asparagus sprigs growing here. We try not to water. As you can see, we put the grass clippings here because of bindweed and such. This is open to your desires to develop. This rhubarb, I brought it first from Ogilvie, Minnesota when we got married in 1987. It was an old farmhouse, so I brought it to Cambridge, a piece of it, and I brought it to here, and I will take a piece of it to stay with us as our history. And this is what lemon balm is mixed in with the peppermint here, but it is the peppermint is the pointed leaf, and this lemon balm is the rounded leaf, and it is just wonderful in tea, especially for sleep. Okay, over here we have hollyhock. Comes up every year. Columbine, every different color. Purple and whites and pale yellow, some pink and whites, all in through here. Okay, that is, over here is the Larry Pryor. He was a patient of mine when I was an oncology nurse back in Mora, Minnesota, in the way back days in the 90s, and he gave me a piece of his hybrid to grow, and I had to bring it with, and I will take a piece of Larry Pryor back with me. It smells like lemon, and it's like a orangey gold color with some brown tints on the inner part of the petal. Just beautiful. That, my friends, is a really big 4 to 5 foot pond lined with rubber. We covered it to prevent all the leaves and stuff from getting in there, to prevent sludge. We did have goldfish we put in there that grew really, really big, but you can fill it from the ditch up there with a hose. But you do need some kind of a filtration system, which we did not establish, and you do need maybe a way to cover it so it doesn't get all the leaves and stuff in it. This is a hawthorn. It has pokey thornies on it, but when it flowers, the bees are all over it. It's like they abandon everything else, and all the bees go to this particular tree. So when you sit on your swing, can't have mine, but when you sit on your swing underneath this hawthorn to listen to the buzz of the bees is amazing. It's beautiful. Okay, this is apricot, and this one doesn't produce so often because of getting frozen out, just the April thing that happens. And it's a wonderful shade though for your swing that you will have. Okay, facing over this way, on this side, we call it the apartment garden. That's a forsythia, and that's one of the first flowering. It is yellow flowering. Actually, there's an elm tree growing in there. We gotta get out of it, but it's past that elm tree is forsythia, and you can see that garden area that I will show you in just a moment. This is a crabtree, white flowers, and it's so beautiful because it's so symmetrical. It's just a beauty to look at. And then let me come over this way carefully. All this marble, by the way, is from Marble, Colorado. Other than the whites, those all were here when we came. There's so much granite and lava rock, so cool. Okay, so that's that crab apple. It's just so pretty. And then we have a vitex bush, and that grows purple flowers. It's not super fragrant, not this one. There's another one over, I'll show you, that is. That's a plum tree. This year was a weird freeze year, so we really did not get a lot of fruit. Apples, that's about it. But this has a nice big plum. It's really great for making jams out of and canning half plums and drying. And then there's 3 lilac bushes and a couple of crab on the end. Okay, this place is big, I'm telling you. Okay, then over here, this is where I put potatoes. You can see where it was all dug out. I've already dug them all out. I had about 25 or more pounds of Goldens, and I just dug a trench and put some lighter weight wood chips on top of it, and just waited until they dried off. And then you can leave them in the ground a little bit longer here on the western slope, but I chose to dig them all. Okay, then we have onions. I've already pulled all the yellows. The whites were later, so now I have table onions. So here we are in October. You can go pull some fresh onion, and they are frost tolerant. That's a pinkish white yarrow. There's a yellow yarrow. There's sedum, rosebush. That's some volunteer calendula. Calendula is an excellent anti-inflammatory, and there's the flower of it. Don't think that when people say, oh, it's just a marigold. No, it's in the marigold family, but it is much richer in resin. So you pick the flowers off. You just let one seed, you'll have a whole big bunch. And then you dry them and you make your salve. Okay, sedum. I don't know what this one is. There's 2 of them. I thought it was an annual, but this one's a lot happier. It has more space. That's oregano, and there is more calendula. I had a second lavender in there, and it didn't make it, but there's plenty of room to make it your own. You just got to keep things trimmed back. I had cosmos in the front. You can see they were huge. I had to pull them, and that's that beautiful forsythia. Okay, so we're going to come around this building here. This is our hot tub hut. There you got a clothesline. Love the clothesline. Okay, sedum, St. John's wort. St. John's wort you need to harvest when it is flowering. You can use the leaves and the flower, and then you dry it, and you can powder it up and make your capsules of the smaller capsule of St. John's wort. And that helped me through menopause. How about that? Okay, that is it's called jumping onion or grandma's onion, and it grows these bulbs. I didn't let it grow up this year, but the bulbs are like little onions on the top, and they fold over and they replant themselves. Okay, there's a bunch of volunteer garlic in here. You don't want that. They're just too densely, and there's just from seed. It's not going to do you any good. Okay, this one is a gorgeous golden orange trumpet vine, and the hummingbirds just love it, and it's planted itself another one right in here. So what we do is we just put an umbrella to cover up our pergola, and that works really well. We have a fire pit. It needs to be cleaned out, but you have to follow the city rules. Like you can't burn trash and can't burn like your garden debris. We still do a little bit, but that's all cool. Okay, another very unusual is a ginkgo biloba. So this is ready to harvest. So the leaves are harvested when they start to turn yellow on the edges. You can let it go a little bit longer, but you dry them. And I just use my hand, pull them off with the little branches, dry them, and then I powder them up, and you have your very own ginkgo biloba without spending $20 a bottle. How about that? Russian sage needs to be trimmed down well. Okay, then we come over here. So we have parsley kind of transplants itself like everywhere. If you let it go to seed, it will. But there's two different kinds of parsley, and that is so cold hardy, it's ridiculous. Okay, right here is garlic chive. If you don't want it to spread, see like this, have the seeds, that will make a whole big bunch more garlic chive. So when you are going to use the garlic chive, you take it when it starts to form a flower bud, and the flower bud tastes delicious of garlic. And we learned that from a Chinese friend. That's how they use it, because the leaf part itself is very tough. Okay, this is tarragon. It's an anise flavor, and you only use a little bit. You don't put it for steeping in anything. You just kind of add it at the end for extra flavor. Then we have, there's a red hot poker and lily in there. This is valerian. So valerian, the root is used in sleep formulas and relaxation. Gives me hallucinations because I made some tincture from it. I cannot use valerian. But the flowers, they're tall and white, and the most fragrant flower. Better than Queen Anne's lace. It is so beautiful. But you'll get that for a few weeks of the flowering, so do keep that one going. And this is another Vitex. This one has the purple flowers. You can see them on there right now, and they're beautiful. They're not fragrant right now. They lose that as they continue on through the season, but when they start to flower in the summer, they're just a very beautiful, fragrant flower. I always wanted to have a greenhouse coming out of that. Well, you can see the water issues from watering, because that's what we do. Look at this lush grass. It's insane. It is so awesome. Many family gatherings are just laying in the grass. It's just so amazing. We could do a greenhouse and put a door out that window or whatever. Okay, this is the hot tub hut, and we used to have a big old hot tub in here. We had teenagers, so that's gone. So this now is an inflatable. This will stay. So I have redone it So you will get the hot tub, not the decor, but the curtains will stay. This is a great place to do your starter plants in February. Right now I have some transplants that I did that are super happy in here right now. But you can develop this as you want. Cedar lined, all the nooks and crannies and hooks that you will ever need. And this is really quite nice. And also, there's a box down here. It is boxed for a bigger hot tub. It's just going to be an issue of getting it. You can't get through that door, so you'd have to talk to hot tub people to get a bigger one in there. But it is set up for 240 straight to the floor. Right now, we have it on that box. It smells wonderful in here. And you can just keep that curtain open, keep the door open, and sit in the hot tub and enjoy watching the fire in the fire pit. And I put this little sheer on here if you wanted to get a little bit more privacy. You can pull that across and keep it open. All right, this, my friends, 314 Howard. Look at all the elm trees we had to cut down. This place was dirt. I'm telling you what, it was dirt. It was orchard grass. It was elm trees everywhere you looked. And we made it with our heart, our soul, and so much digging, and so much labor, and so much love, and bringing water to this whole area, that we brought it to life. We made this forgotten place from 1938 that was an old carriage house into an absolutely gorgeous oasis on 3rd and Howard in town. And I do hope that whomever acquires this property will love it and cherish it, continue to grow, and enjoy the fruits of our labors. Thank you. Bye.